This 26 Sports and CCTV high school football presentation is brought to you by Wolverine Power Cooperative and Great Lakes Energy. Your local electric cooperative is looking out for you. And by Munson Healthcare Cadillac Rehab Services.
Welcome back to the Michigan High School Football Game of the Week here on 26 Sports and CCTV. We resume action at Lake City High School here on homecoming night in 2019 with a 2nd and 1 completion over to Benjamin Marion. That moves the Sticks further into McBain territory, but it is the Ramblers with a 7-0 lead as we begin the second quarter of action as Hunter Bisbal trying to bring his team back. Not much success on the offensive side for Lake City. They're trying to get something moving, and here's a completion over in the flats to Tyler McGinnis, and great open field tackle by Caden McGillis, the corner for the McBain Ramblers. Still picks up a couple. As if you are just now joining us here in the second quarter, you missed a fantastic play by the McBain offense. It was George Brown III who is returning from injury tonight. He found Ethan Barton up the right sideline. Almost took it to the house himself, but decided to go ahead and make things easy on himself and dropped it off to Gavin Seelan, who ran it in from 10 yards out. And that's how we arrived at 7-0, 2nd and 8. Here's Bisbal across the middle. That one falling incomplete, but there's a flag at the 25-yard line. That pass intended for Benjamin Marion in coverage, Dan Rodenbaugh. And that one is in the area of pass interference. But they are going to confirm that pass was quite a bit over the head of the intended target, which was Benjamin Marion. And Hunter Bisbal, most of his passes thus far in this contest have been out towards the flats. It is defensive pass interference on McBain. That's going to be a 15-yard penalty, and that'll move the Sticks. Automatic first down for Lake City. On a hot night here at Lake City High School, homecoming night. Once upon a time, I was in the homecoming court myself. I finished second. One of the biggest losses in my life is I lost homecoming king to a foreign exchange student. It does happen from time to time. 1st and 10, Lake City at the 26-yard line. Bisbal with trips towards the top of your screen. Handoff goes and slips a tackle. Jack Pedler up the right sideline. Touchdown, Lake City. 27-yard touchdown run by Pedler. Yakety yak, touchdown, Jack Pedler from 27 yards out. And the extra point can tie this one up. On the kick, Sual Soros dos Santos. Cabo dos Santos. Kick is up, and that one splits the uprights, and we are knotted up at 7-all at Lake City High School with 10:47 remaining. Jack Pedler with a 27-yard touchdown run. You hear the crowd erupt here on homecoming night. We'll get some homecoming festivities at halftime. Perfect time to go ahead and mention some of our sponsors for tonight's game. Presented by Munson Healthcare and Cadillac Hospital, Wolverine Power Cooperative, and Great Lakes Energy. Fox Motors of Cadillac, your local Ford and Toyota dealerships. LC Materials, the concrete experts. Doug Glass of Cadillac for all of your home and auto glass needs. Builder's First Source in Cadillac, your first source for flooring. Stop by and see them today. Tasty Treat in Lake City. Stop by the Tasty Treat to get your dinner before every big game. The team at Tasty Treat is wishing the Lake City Trojans the best of luck this season. And we'll pick back up after we get the ensuing kickoff. Fernando Pena to handle the kicking duties for Lake Fenton. Back to receive for the Ramblers. Dan Rodenbaugh and Caden McGillis. As we're all tied up at 7, just under the 11-minute mark. And McGillis is going to let that one bounce into the end zone for a touchback. As the Ramblers are going to look to answer as Lake Fenton tied this one up. Lake City, the Trojans. A lot of lakes up here in Michigan. My humble apologies for getting them a little mixed up. As you are just now joining us, 70-yard touchdown reception. George Brown to Ethan Barton, who dropped it off to Gavin Sealand. That was in the first quarter, and the opening drive of the second quarter, it was Lake City, Jack Pedler, and here we are, George Brown III. He's looking to throw, and he's got his man Gavin Sealand, and he's smacked down of bounds by Jack Pedler. A little wheel route up the right sideline towards the top of your screen. Gain of 15. That'll move the sticks. We talked again with Coach Maloney, mentioning how important it was to get George Brown III back, the senior captain. Here's 1st and 10 from the 35, and there's Brown barreling into a Trojan defender, but he's lassoed up. Gain of 2, number 54, Andrew Vanderteeg. And we've seen a busy night on the defensive side of the football for Mr. Vanderteeg. Almost dropped George Brown III for a safety. Gain of 2 brings up 2nd and 8. Tied up at 7 at the 10-minute mark in the second quarter. Brown back to pass. That one complete to Barton. He slips a tackle and brought down just inside, right at midfield. That's a gain of 13. That's going to move the chains again for this Rambler offense. That's the third reception for Ethan Barton. And Ethan Barton, he didn't score the touchdown on the box score, but you may have well have given him that one to get the Ramblers on the board. 1st and 10 from midfield. Brown on the keeper. And it takes a couple Trojans to finally bring down Mr. George Brown. On the stop, number 50, Devin Jorgensen. Working out of the shotgun is George Brown III. 2nd and 7. Trying to retake the lead is McBain. Rolling to his right is Brown. Going upfield, and he's looking for Gavin Seal, and that one falls incomplete. And you see head coach Pat Maloney, it worked well earlier on the drive. Same exact play call. Fake pitch to Rodenbaugh, rolling right. This time he couldn't drop it in the bucket. Incomplete pass brings up 3rd and 7 for McBain. And we've seen a couple sacks already from this Trojan defense. Four wide receivers set for McBain. 2 to each side. Brown back to pass. Lofts it across the middle. That one intercepted. Going the other way now. Tyler McGinnis, the safety, comes up with a turnover for Lake City. Dangerous throw from George Brown III. Threw that one into double coverage. And Tyler McGinnis made him pay. And that sets up Lake City with a 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. Tied up at 7-all. 9:22 remaining in the first half. Working out of the shotgun is Hunter Bisball. Bisball gives to Pedler. Pedler cutting it upfield and dragging number 25, Owen Bonico, for a couple of yards. Owen Bonico, the leading tackler on this McBain defense. He's got 3 tackles so far tonight. That notches him all the way up to 30 solo tackles. You see the senior leader playing middle linebacker. Bisball working out of the shotgun, man in motion. That's Benjamin Marion. Give goes to Pedler up the middle. Nothing doing. Stout up front. George Brown III. on the stop. Actually, that's number 34. Check that. That's Dan Rodenbaugh on the stop, the linebacker, the junior linebacker. Gain of 2. It's going to bring up 3rd and 7 for Lake City. Bisball working out of the shotgun. Play action. Back shoulder throw. That one right on the money to Tyler McGinnis. And McGinnis finally dragged down right towards midfield by number 22, Caden McGillis. But Hunter Bisball put that one right on the money. First down, Lake City. One of the first times we've seen Hunter Bisball push the ball down the field. And that one covered well by McGillis. There's no defense for the perfect throw. 10 personnel. 1st and 10 at midfield. Pass complete to Taylor Butkovich. And Butkovich into Rambler territory. Gain of 6. Brought down by Gavin Sealand. Gavin Sealand, he's been all over the field tonight. Active on the defensive side of the football in the secondary for McBain. He's carried the ball a couple times. He was Johnny on the spot for Eaton Barton for the lateral as he took it to the house. 2nd and 4 at the 44-yard line. Bisball, play action. Fires it deep down the field, but that one underthrown but hauled in. Are you kidding me? Tyler McGinnis. Tyler McGinnis tips it to himself. A defender hanging on him, but the senior unevaded. Hauls it in at the 23-yard line, and that'll move the sticks for the Trojans. A little underthrown if you'll ask Bisball. He'll tell you himself, but he'll take it. Sometimes better lucky than good. 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. Pedler up the middle, and there's the ball is on the ground. They're going to call him, say his forward progress was stopped or down by contact.
No gain on the play.
And that McBain defense thought they got their hands on a turnover. He was gobbled up by number 66, Kagan Yaklin. No gain on the play, but they'll take it as opposed to a turnover. Brings up 2nd and 10 for the Trojans. Bisball, this one's a quarterback keeper. And check that. That's McGinnis reversing his field. Finally tripped up by Ethan Barton. A little wildcat there from Coach Kyle Smith. A lot of running east and west. Very little gain. We'll give them a yard on the box score. That's going to bring up 3rd and 9, just under the 6-minute mark. Tied up between the Ramblers and the Trojans. Lake City trying to take its first lead of this game. Bisball working out of the shotgun. Now he's got trips to the bottom of your screen. Bisball, he's going to tuck it down and run, and that's not going to garner the first down. The Ramblers defense up to the challenge. Ethan Barton on the stop. Gain of 1. Decision time for head coach Kyle Smith. And it looks like this Trojan offense is going to stay out there. I don't know the range of their place kicker. But it is going to be Hunter Bisball. And the offense is going to stay out there for Lake City. They're working out of the shotgun. 4 wide receiver set. 4th down for Lake City. Bisball lets it rip down the field. That one incomplete and broken up by Caden McGillis. He was looking for Benjamin Marion, another jump ball scenario. This time, the Trojans come up empty. That's a turnover on downs. I want to go ahead and take the time again to pick up where we left off with some of our sponsors. Pancho Villa Mexican Grill in Lake City, featuring Monday specials. Like 5 beef or chicken enchiladas for only $5. Lake City Family Pharmacy and McBain Family Pharmacy for all of your prescription and vaccination needs. Bowman and Rogers in Lake City, your local accounting team, as we have 1st and 10 with 4:48 remaining in the second quarter. And the give goes to Dan Rodenbaugh, and he is bottled up. Big old number 71 on the stop, Jacob Rosecrans. Little to no gain. They'll give him one. It's going to be 2nd and 9 at the 23-yard line, just under the 4-minute and 30-second mark. McBain Building Products, your local hometown lumberyard for over 30 years. Cadillac Tire Center, and of course, Pizza Plus. 2nd and 9 for the Ramblers. Brown gives, and that one, Gavin Seelick dropped, and a back-to-back stops by the big man, Jacob Rosecrans. If I'm head coach Maloney, I might start running away from that young man. Because if you're trying to run at him, that means you got to move him. Under the 4-minute mark, we're still tied up at 7-all. Here on the 26 Sports and CCTV Michigan High School Football Game of the Week. 3rd and 11 for McBain. Brown back to pass. In trouble. Now he's going to tuck it down and run. And look at Brown going right at 2 defenders, but he is cut down by Jack Pedler. That's going to be a gain of 7. He's going to be well shy of the sticks. And that'll bring up 4th and long and likely the punting unit for McBain. And you saw George Brown III. He was not messing around. Once he decided to tuck it and run, he was a freight train going straight ahead. But Jack Pedler up to the challenge. Just under the 3-minute mark. It's Sebastian Matson back to punt for McBain. And this one doesn't have quite as much distance, and it is fielded by Taylor Butkovich. And there's going to be some laundry at the 49-yard line. The return, he's brought down at the 48. We'll see what the penalty is. And where McBain will have to try to keep Lake City from taking their first lead of the game as we draw to a close here to end the second quarter. That's going to be a block in the back on Lake City. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. It will push the Trojans all the way back into their own territory. They'll start this drive with 2 minutes and 46 seconds to work with. 1st and 10 at the 41-yard line. Bisbal working under center. Pedler on the carry. And the McBain defense up front. Lucas Skolton. Right at the line of scrimmage. No gain for the Trojans. That's going to bring up 2nd and 10. The Trojans have all 3 timeouts to work with. Both teams trying to climb their way up the standings in the Highland League. 2nd and 10. Pass complete to Tyler McGinnis. McGinnis slips one would-be tackler, but Gavin Seelick in hot pursuit drops the Trojan wide receiver and kept him in bounds. The clock continues to run. It's going to be a big 3rd and 6 for Lake City. Coach Kyle Smith of the Trojans electing not to spend a timeout. Tick, tick, tick. 3rd and 6 from the 45-yard line. Bisbal, play action. And that one broken up. Dan Rodenbaugh. That one intended for Benjamin Marion. He had him on the crossing route. But you're always taught, if you can't get to the quarterback, get your hands up. And that batted pass will force 4th down at the 45-yard line. And they do bring out the punter, Taylor Butkovich. And previously as well, we've seen the other backfield mate. And Butkovich, he will go ahead and punt this one. This one is going to take a Lake City bounce all the way to the 5 and down at the 2. Good job in coverage by Joshua Shively. And that's going to back McBain all the way up with 1:19 remaining in the first half. Tie score at 7-all. Here on the 26 Sports and CCTV Michigan High School Football Game of the Week. We've seen McBain's offense backed up on a couple of occasions. And the play call that they've gone to has been to Gavin Sealand. And out of the shotgun is George Brown. They're going to go to the air. This one complete to Ethan Barton. And Barton with his 5th reception of the game. He gets past the sticks. That would give the McBain Ramblers a first down, but there's a flag on the play. We're going to have to check and see what the call is. It does seem like head coach Maloney has identified a matchup that he likes on this Lake City defense, and the penalty is on Lake City. Results of the play will go ahead and move the sticks regardless. So McBain with a little bit of breathing room and trying to retake the lead. They have 2 timeouts with 1:12 remaining in the first half. And they're going to tack on 10 more after the result of the play. And that's going to advance the ball all the way up to the 24-yard line. That's 1st and 10 now for George Brown III and the Ramblers. 4 wide receiver set, and the clock now begins to tick. Brown lets it rip deep down the field. That one hauled in. Great grab by Josh Hart, and he's finally dropped just shy of midfield. But McBain is in business. Gain of 22, and that'll move the chains. Josh Hart out jumping Joshua Shively for the ball. And now we're going to go ahead and take a timeout as the Ramblers have a 1st and 10 just shy of midfield with 57 seconds remaining in the first half. We've got a packed house tonight here at Lake City High School. 2019 homecoming for the Trojans. You're just joining us to kind of catch you up on the action. It was a 70-yard touchdown pass from George Brown III to Ethan Barton, who then lateraled it to Gavin Sealand from at the 10-yard line, and he took it in for the first score of the game. The Trojans responded. Jack Pedler from 27 yards out punched it in. Both teams converted on their extra points, and that's how we arrived at 7-all. It seems like George Brown III, they found some success throwing the ball out on the edges, both to Josh Hart and Ethan Barton. Now, 1st and 10 at the 48-yard line. Brown back to pass. His pass is complete to big old number 25, Owen Bonico. That's going to move the chains. 50 seconds remaining. 1 timeout in the back pocket of the McBain Ramblers. Working out of the shotgun is George Brown III. Low snap, but he handles it, rolling to his left. And he's going to drop it off, and that one hauled in. They're going to call it a catch. That's Dan Rodenbaugh laying out. That's a gain of 15. That's going to move the sticks yet again. Great job by George Brown III buying some time, and a diving grab by Rodenbaugh. And the Ramblers are in business. Clock is running. 35 seconds as they try to retake the lead. 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. Brown rolling right. Fires across the middle, and that one in and out of the hands of Gavin Sealand. Incomplete pass does stop the clock with 23 seconds remaining. That'll bring up 2nd and 10. Ramblers still have 1 timeout remaining. And George Brown III has missed some time this season with injuries, a little nicked up. But he doesn't look rusty whatsoever. He's been throwing very well in this first half, and we've got a 2nd and 10. Motion, Rodenbaugh rolling to his right. In trouble and sacked. He tried to throw the ball. They're going to say that it was a fumble. And that's going to be a turnover if it stands. Now, we're going to probably get some conversation. There's a couple flags on the play. And it was George Brown III saying he shoveled it forward. That was not a forced fumble in his opinion, but it was ruled a fumble on the field. And that was number 54 with great pressure. That's the 2nd sack of the game from Andrew Vanderteeg. And we're going to go down to the field and see what the official call is. And this one is intentional grounding on George Brown III. And Maloney's going to go ahead and spend his final timeout to prevent a 10-second runoff. 16 seconds left. Tied up at 7-all. And we're going to get 1 or 2 more plays from this McBain offense. Tell you what, great hustle from Andrew Vanderteeg all the way from the right defensive end position. They rolled away from his side on his high horse and able to run down George Brown III to force a very, very costly intentional grounding against McBain. You would expect nothing less than a fantastic game between two teams that saw it come down to the very last play of last season. And this homecoming crowd here at Lake City High School is being treated to a great first half, but they want to see their defense come up with a stop. And here comes George Brown III with a 3rd and 20 from the 33-yard line. 15 seconds remaining. You've got trips to the bottom of your screen. Brown back to pass, but there is movement, and it was Gavin Sealand at the top of your screen, number 3, trying to jet his way to the end zone, and he was a little overzealous. That's going to be a false start or a legal procedure on McBain. That'll back him up an additional 5 yards. But what's 5 more yards when it's already 3rd and 20? 3rd and 25. 12 seconds left. Same formation for McBain. Brown working out of the shotgun. Back to pass. In trouble. Brown heaves it into the deep downfield. Not one brought in. Ethan Barton. They have no timeouts remaining, and that'll be the final play of the first half. And Lake City can exhale after that heave down the field. We're heading to halftime, knotted up at 7-all between the McBain Ramblers and the Lake City Trojans, as we're going to be back with the halftime show and some homecoming action here on 26 Sports and CCTV.